Hi, it's Robbie on a bright sunny day, and today I want to talk about walking onions. When is the right time to collect them and the wrong time to collect them, and when it could be too late. So these are walking onions, Egyptian onions. And the reason they call them walking onions is because this is how they grow. They grow up, and then they get a head on top, which is bulbs. See, these are baby walking onions. Then they fall over and they grow in the soil. Kind of like what this one did all by itself. See that? This one fell over from here and it's actually growing in the pot. There's two of them and I'm going to leave them. They're still connected, but that is perfectly fine. That is actually very rare. Here, our soil is so dry that they don't generally find the perfect place, but that one did. It found a pot that is nice and damp and perfect for it to grow. Walking onions look and taste very much like your regular conventional green onions. But the reason I love them so much is you can use the entire thing. You can use the very small bulb on the bottom that grows at the base of the plant. You can use the greens, which is absolutely delicious, whether you use them raw. I've even pan-fried them. Fantastic, with a little olive oil, a little butter. Wonderful to add to any dish or eat just as is. And of course, you can also eat the bulbs if you choose to. Once you pull the plant out, it's gone. But if you just use the greens, you can have that one beautiful green onion plant going for years and continuously giving you food when you need an onion. Let me show you how I pick them, and then I'll show you how I plant them so you'll understand when you're buying them what is the right one to get. Now here's a whole group of walking onions I have growing in just a simple flower pot. Now once the stem turns brown, there's no longer any green to it, they're done. In other words, they're not getting anything else from the mother plant. They're not going to get any bigger, they're not going to grow anymore. In fact, this one is so brittle and dry that a lot of these may not grow. This one has a little bit of green growth, but a lot of these, they just may not be viable. But I'm going to put it in a bucket and try. This one also came off a stem that is brown, a little late, but still shows some life to it. So I'm going to go ahead and take this and try to grow it. Now this one is still on a green stem. This is perfect. This one is still actually growing a little bit because the stem is green. But the second the stem starts to turn brown like this, and this one already fell over, they're not going to get any nutrition or anything from the mother plant. If it doesn't fall over into a flower pot or into the soil where it's damp, it has to be damp, they won't grow. This is a good time to cut it off, collect it, and get ready to grow them. Because if you leave them a little too long, they will dry out. You cannot store these bulbs. They will continue to dry out. So I'm going to collect a lot of these and we're going to go plant them. Don't forget to compost the stems because all this is perfect to return to the soil. But this is what we want to plant, and I'll show you how to plant them. Please be sure if you do buy them from somebody, they're sending you nice fresh bulbs, bulbs that recently came off the mother plant, bulbs that still have a little bit of growth to them, and those will be usually good to grow. Now you can put them in a bowl with a little bit of water just to get them rehydrated before you put them in the ground. That helps too sometimes if they got a little too dry, but once these little bulbs dry out, they will not grow anymore. So we've got to get these in the ground before we have no onions from these top sets. So this is how easy it is to plant these. Now they can be quite big, the bulbs. Those are quite big, or they can be very, very small. Now keep in mind, if anybody ever offers you seeds, there are no seeds when it comes to walking onions. It won't be right. So don't buy seeds. What you want are sets. You can buy them in these clumps, just the way they are, or you can have them when they're individual, or they can send you the entire plant. Now with these, I'm going to break them apart, and they snap right apart. Just gently snap them apart, and then you have these separate little bulbs, see? Now I've got 3 separate onions. Now you can plant them in the cluster if you want. It'll just be a little bit smaller, the plants, but they'll still grow. And then all you do is start making holes. That's all you have to do is make a hole, push it in, and leave a little bit of the top exposed. I plant them really close. They seem to do quite well, but you can plant them a little further. Remember, these are onions. You could eat these too, but why eat them when you can get so many more out of them by planting them and using just the greens? I mainly use the greens. Don't worry if you cover the whole top. It will find its way up. With the little ones, I still snap them apart and do the same thing. Continue to take a stick and push them in. And try to keep a little bit of the top up if you can. You could just do it with your fingers too if you don't care about getting dirty. And they're going to pop up in a matter of days. If you're not in a frost, they will be right up. Just push them in. You just want to make sure, like you're planting tulips, you want to make sure that the bulb is in the soil and the top is pointed up. They will find their way up, believe you me. And it doesn't matter how small they are. That's all you need to do, and keep them watered. They don't like to dry out. Now, if they're super, super tiny, I've got a whole bucket of them, and you don't want to break them apart, you don't have to. Some of them are so tiny, it might be hard to break them apart. But that's up to you. But you can, if you didn't want to break them apart, you can take the whole cluster, plant them in there, and the strongest ones will survive, and some of the little ones might dwindle away. Sometimes I take the little ones and just bring them in the house, put them in a flower pot. When they get good size to them, bring them back outside. But that is just how easy it is to plant these. So what's the secret of planting them? Nothing. Make sure you grab them off the plant as soon as they're done from the mother plant. If any of them break off and they still have a green stem, that's fine. Grab them, get them in some soil, because they will grow even if you pick them too early. And that is basically it. You're just going to stick them in the soil, make sure the little bulb is underneath some of the soil. And like I said, if they're too small, go ahead and put the whole clump in together. That will work too. And then it's good if you want to cover them with something. They will find their way up. This helps retain some moisture. This is just some brown leaves. And that's all there is to it. They're all planted, and in a matter of a short time, they will be coming up, and you will have green walking onions everywhere. I call them an onion for life, because once you've got them for good. Because you can have the baby onions keep going, you snap the babies off, you eat them, but you will have hundreds and hundreds of walking onions if you just give them that little bit of care. With that, have a wonderful, wonderful day. And don't forget to eat what you grow. Bye-bye. Oh, these are beautiful.